Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content. All right, time for Cavs Q&A, where I answer questions about the Cavs and give you some answers. Let's just jump into it. Tom says this. Caris Levert. Could Caris Levert be the answer to the Cavs' problems? I don't know, right? On one hand, Caris does provide you some length, decent defensive effort, and another guy who can handle the basketball, right? He would be a good handle to have in there. On the other end, Caris Levert is no stranger to turnovers. Caris Levert can kind of clog up and stop the ball at times. Caris Levert is a very streaky shooter. And I don't think Caris Levert would make me feel like the Cavs' playoff issues would get better if you brought him here. All of that makes me inclined to want to see what else the Cavs can get done other than Caris Levert, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. I know there's some love for Caris here. He's a hometown, well, not a hometown guy, a home state guy. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, do we need another Ty Jerome? Right? Like, isn't one Ty Jerome enough? Because say what you want about Ty in this series. I mean, like, we've seen Caris turn into somebody else, not in a good way in the playoffs as well. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm big on bringing back Caris Levert. Daryl Williams says, hey, will the Cavs finally stop just talking about this being Mobley's team next year and actually follow through? Feels like lip service at the point. Every year they revert back to the guard-heavy hero ball when it gets rough. Well, I think it's been happening in steps, and I think it needs to happen in steps, right? Evan Mobley is super young and still at an early point in his career. You can't just throw him the basketball and be like, all right, take care of it. That's not the best way to operate. I do think this upcoming season should be the year where you're like, Evan needs to get 5 shots up in the fourth quarter. I think everybody's in agreement on that one. So, yes, I think we have finally reached the time for Evan to up his role in the fourth quarter of these basketball games, right? I think that's where we're at. I don't think this has been a story of the Cavs like reverting. I think they just are going through the proper steps that you need to get Evan Mobley where you want him to be. And you can't just get it all done in 1 year, right? But that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think it's a bit I don't think it's charitable to paint the picture as if the Cavs have been lying about what they want with Evan. I think they have been progressing Evan through, and it's been obvious that he's been progressing on offense, and they're waiting until he's ready for these opportunities. Yellow says, what do you think the championship window is for this core four? How long do I think the window is? So right now, I think the window's open for a lot of teams because we are in this era of ultra parity with the second apron. A lot of teams can't get better. A lot of teams that are better are going to have to get worse. So everybody's going to come down to a more even playing field, right? Like even a team like OKC, who seems to have infinite upgrade potential, still going to have to come down to earth eventually. So if that's going to be the case, I think the Cavs window is probably this season, maybe next season, right? So the next 2 years, depending on how much evolution you see out of Evan Mobley over those 2 years, will be the real chance to win a title. Anything outside of that is just simply not guaranteed, right? And something to keep an eye on, right? Is Donovan Mitchell's game going to age well? A lot of it relies on athleticism. He's taken a lot of punishment over the last couple of years. Like, I'm not convinced he's going to age gracefully. And the same thing can be asked of Darius Garland, who in a couple of years will still be, 27? But he might be one of those players you want to watch when they get to 30 because of the amount of, physicality and size he lacks that he has to go through in the game. But yeah, that's where I feel like the window is. You got a definite window open next year. And then after that, it's question marks. R. Speller says, what sacrifices do the Cavs need to make on their roster besides the Jared Allen situation to become a real title contender next season? They need to sacrifice some of their 2-guard depth for point guards or a point guard and a 4/3 who can screen and run. Right. I think that's what the Cavs really need. Right. I don't think we need another center. We don't need like Steven Adams, even though he would be nice. I think the Cavs need a power forward who can play both the 3 and the 4, make the occasional 3, and run the floor. Because part of the problem with Jared Allen is that you can run lineups out there that force him off the floor. And then the Cavs have no presence when it comes to physicality when Jared's out. So what the Cavs need, somebody who can play that 4 to 5, make an occasional 3, and really just rebound, right? Like if I've ever seen a team that could use Dennis Rodman, it's 100% the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? They could use Dennis Rodman. Another player who would be perfect for the Cavs that I'm like digging into memory banks for is like older Ron Artest, right? Meta World Peace. Obviously, prime Ron Artest would be amazing for this basketball team, but older Ron Artest, younger Draymond Green, not this version of him that exists that can't really play the 3 anymore, or make a shot. But like younger Draymond Green, like they could use a 4/3 that has physical presence. Like if I were to cook up the 2 idea players for the Cavaliers, it would be a big point guard with length who can defend and facilitate and create for others, with a good handle to be the backup or to be a situational guy, the 3rd guard in the rotation. And it would be for a 3/4 player who can rebound a ton. Maybe make a shot. I don't know if I really care if that guy can make a shot, but at least for spacing purposes can make a shot. But really rebound, right? And give you a physical presence in second most important, screen. Be a really good screener. That's what I think. You get those 2 archetypes filled, I think the Cavs would be the best team in the NBA. Big Bird says, with the East being wide open next year, with Boston likely out of the running for the top dog spot, with Tatum injury, will the Cavs make any blockbuster moves while keeping their stars? Not sure if it's possible with how little picks they own. They signed a trade a top 100 player while keeping, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. If they are, then Kobe Altman deserves all the respect in the world. But the Cavs is, every team in the NBA is kind of in the same boat right now. Like every single good team in the NBA right now, even like the Pacers are going to be in this spot eventually. Every single good team's at the point where it's like nobody can really add somebody, right? Like the 2016 Warriors move of going out and adding like Kevin Durant, it's not really possible for anybody, right? So I just don't think that's going to happen. Like if the Cavs want to add somebody, they're going to have to sacrifice. And I think that's why a lot of this conversation has been had, like, hey, what can you get to upgrade from Darius Garland or to upgrade this team while giving up a Darius Garland or Jared Allen? I think the truth is the returns on those conversations just aren't going to be what people want them to be, or even convince themselves that it is. Because, like, you're not going to convince me that trading Darius Garland for Jalen Suggs and some other players on the Magic's lineup is a good idea. And I don't think you're going to convince Kobe Altman of that either. Staples says this. Hey, Q, longtime listener of your Browns, Cavs, and Q and Cole content. First time caller or commenter. On the previous Q and Cole episode, I think it was the post-elimination one, you mentioned that if the Cavs decide to move on from Evan and move Evan to the move on from Jared and move Evan to the 5, my bad, and move on from Jared Allen, then the Cavs should get a bigger and stronger 4 to pair alongside. I kind of talked about this in my earlier answer, right? The question is a 2-parter. Do you think Evan Mobley needs to move full-time to 5 to reach his offensive potential, or do you think we should keep Mobley-Allen duo around? Okay, so let me answer the first question first. Do I think Evan needs to move to the 5 to reach his full offensive potential? I think Evan can be a factor from the offensive side of the floor, whether he's at the 4 or the 5. It's more about getting those opportunities, but he seems to be more offensively effective at the 5 because he is still willing to be physical with guys enough to where he can use his length and quickness to get around guys. And that's going to be more common against centers than it is going to be against power forwards. The other thing that you mentioned is, are there any power forwards out there that you would like to pair up with Evan Mobley, either as a full-time starter or a 6-man role? Portis, PJ Washington come to mind for me. Yeah, Bobby Portis would make some sense. I would love it if it's a little bit better of a player than Bobby, but Bobby Portis makes sense. PJ Washington makes sense. I really got to do some digging and some search to really find the players I think fit what I'm talking about, because all I can think of is older NBA players right now who aren't useful for the Cavs. But yeah, I certainly think that the Cavs can develop or find a guy this offseason that could somewhat fill that role. So yeah, I agree with you. And the reason I want a power forward with a physical presence is because then you can be flexible enough defensively to where Evan doesn't always have to rim protect when he's the center. And I think Evan not having to rim protect unlocks him defensively as well. So, like, as much as he's a good player offensively at the 5, I want to find a way to where he doesn't have to play the 5 defensively all the time. Tom K back with another question. What do you think? Who do you think is the impact of so many Cavs coaches? Oh, what do you think will be the impact of the Cavs coaches leaving for new opportunities? Any concern, or just good sign that Kenny and Kobe selected excellent assistants? I think this is a good sign of what the NBA really thinks about the job the Cavs did this season. These GMs and teams wouldn't want to hire as many assistants from the Cavs staff if they felt like the Cavs were this fluke of a team. So it tells you that people are impressed with the job that Kenny Atkinson has done, and that means the Cavs have the right guy, or at least it looks like the Cavs have the right guy running this thing so far. Cable says, do Cavs fans and Darius Garland fans exist? And if so, are they different from one another? There's a lot of Cavs fans that are also Darius Garland fans. There are also a lot of Cavs fans that are anti-Darius Garland fans, and I don't understand why people are like this. Either way, I think Darius Garland just gets far too much hate than what he actually has earned on the court from people. Is there reason to be frustrated with Darius at times? Yes. But the fact that people just act like Darius, we're all out on him, we want to just give up on him. More people were more charitable to Colin Sexton than they were to Darius Garland. And I find that absurd. I just find it absurd. So yeah, I think Darius gets a raw deal by the fan base for sure. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.